Welcome back, folks, to Crown Liquor's Wine Web Blog. I am Brennan Corder, and we are going to review some wonderful sparkling wines out of Carneros, California today, and I have a wonderful guest by the name of Eileen Crane. Thank you so much for coming today.
I'm delighted to be here. This is my first time to Indianapolis, and I've been having a great time so far.
Good, good, good. All right, folks, so what we're going to do is ask Eileen a few questions about her history and the background of Domaine Carneros, and then we're going to sample 3 wonderful wines. So I'm going to go ahead and open up with the first question here. So what prompted you to move from the East Coast, where you had studied culinary arts, and then move to the West Coast to study enology and viticulture at UC Davis?
Well, I'd always been interested in wine. When I was growing up in New Jersey, my dad had a wine cellar, and when I was young, he let me taste wines, and I got really intrigued by them. Maybe it was just the color of the labels or the stories of where they came from, but sparkling wine especially captured my imagination. But growing up as a little girl in New Jersey, becoming a winemaker was not a career option.
Sure.
So I did several other things first, but when I was at the Culinary Institute, I met a real live winemaker, and he said there's a place in California called Davis where you can study winemaking. And when he said that, that was the key I needed. I packed my bags, moved to California. Started out as a part-time tour guide, almost starved that summer.
Oh, I bet. I bet they don't pay their tour guides too much money at all now, do they?
I think better now.
So we're going to taste this first wine right here. This is the Domaine Carneros Brut. Is it vintage?
It is. It's the 08 vintage. A sparkling wine, usually a non-vintage champagne or sparkling wine, has about 18 months of age on it. A vintage-dated sparkling wine always is 3 years or more. So the winery's telling you this was worth aging. It's of a superior quality than a non-vintage. And it's also telling you that if you choose to lay it down, it'll age very well beyond that. So vintage dating is a real key to quality, something you want to look for on a label if you want something truly special. And this is our Brut Vintage. It's a dry style of wine. It's all from our estate vineyards. We're in the heart of the Carneros, which is right between the town of Napa and the town of Sonoma. We're one of the smallest of the California sparkling houses. And if you come out my way, we're the chateau on the hill between Napa and Sonoma. You can't miss it. You'll say, gee, I wonder if that was that gal who was speaking about that on that video. And yes, it is. And so you know where I am, you just drive in and come and visit me.
Here's wine number 1.
No, wine number 1.
Excellent.
So one of the things, when you taste sparkling wine, you know, the bubbles, look at the bubbles. These are very tiny with a little crown of mousse, as they call it, or bubbles. And you want fine bubbles because big bubbles are coarse. They pop in your mouth like soda pop or bubbly gassed water. Sure. So you want just a little tickle, and that's what fine bubbles do. People often think that sparkling wine is for christening ships and 25th wedding anniversaries, but it's perfect for Friday night.
Absolutely.
Think about it. You go home and your honey opens a bottle of bubbles, or you have friends over and they hear a cork go. You know, all of a sudden they think, whoa.
What are we celebrating?
What are we celebrating?
Friday.
Or this is something special. Friday's a great thing to celebrate.
Let's taste this and see what we think. It's got really bright fruit. I mean, Granny Smith apples.
And a little bit of melon.
A little bit of melon. I would think pear as well.
Yeah. And see how the flavor stays in your mouth? You can still taste it.
It does have a lengthy finish, absolutely.
Any great wine should have a long finish. You should be able to count to 3 very slowly and still taste it. And you could probably count to about 20 in the time you can still taste this one.
Fantastic. Well, let's move on to the second wine while I ask the second question. So obviously, after you moved out to the West Coast, you started at Domaine Chandon.
At Chandon, yes. A very long time ago, 35 years ago, I started at Chandon. And that's where I started as a tour guide. And by the time I left, 6 years later, I was the assistant winemaker. And I was hired to oversee the construction and development of a winery called Gloria Ferrer. And I was there 3 years. And then Taittinger came along, Champagne Taittinger. And they were interested in making the same quality of wine that I was interested in making, which was the best and nothing but the best. And so I've been there actually 25 years. This was my 25th anniversary with Champagne Taittinger.
That's what we're celebrating right now then, isn't it?
And some people say, don't you find it hard working for the French? And I think, I got the good ones. So the Rosé You know, you look at the color of this, it's just this beautiful pale pink. And it's not sweet, it's also a dry wine. It is a little fruitier. So when you smell it, I often get wild strawberries or peaches in the nose. And it's named
I can get that immediately.
Named for a woman named Madame Pompadour, who first introduced sparkling champagne to the court of Versailles and popularized it. And Madame Pompadour was famous for having said that champagne is the only wine that a woman can drink and remain beautiful. Ooh. So I recommend 2 to 3 bottles a day. Don't drive.
Don't drive, that's fine. We can call a cab for you, no problem.
But the rosé is named for her, and this is what I'm inclined to drink for, I have maybe for New Year's. I have it for Valentine's Day. Of course, you have to have it.
Absolutely.
Mother's Day is a very good choice.
Absolutely.
And for a wedding or the summer. But you know, the other thing is it tastes great. And if you're having salmon, for instance, it matches the color as well as the wine match beautifully with something like salmon. And actually, all of these wines are wonderful to drink over dinner. And if you think, I'm not so sure with sparkling wine, give it a try.
I think the versatility is something we touched on earlier, and it's wonderfully versatile for a huge array of different cuisines. Let's taste this and see what we think. So on the nose, I agree with you. I mean, I get wild strawberries, maybe a little bit of peach as well.
Sometimes a little raspberry note. Again, a long finish with fullness in the mouth and complexity. And
what's the blend on this wine?
This is about 70% Pinot Noir and 30% Chardonnay. We use only those 2 grape varieties, currently Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, and all from our estate-grown vineyard. So all in the Carneros, right between Napa and Sonoma. You pass them on the road before you come to the winery.
Fantastic. Well, cool. Let's move on to the next wine.
So the next wine is called Rêve. And Rêve means the dream, and it's a specialty bottle. It's got the double ram's head on the neck. We only make just a few hundred cases of this. I'll let you open it. Excellent. And it's this one's 100% Chardonnay.
So Blanc de Blanc.
Blanc de Blanc. When I was first hired by Champagne Taittinger, Claude Taittinger invited me to his house for dinner. And after I met his wife and the pleasantries were over, he said to me, Eileen, what ages longer in a sparkling wine, Chardonnay or Pinot Noir? And I think he thought it was a trick question. And I said, well, Chardonnay. And he looked at me like, whoa, how would someone from California know that? And I said, well, I've made sparkling wine for a number of years now. And so Pinot Noir is a very long aging grape as a sparkling wine, but Chardonnay is a longer aging one. So the Rêve, like any great sparkling wine, is 100% Chardonnay. It'll last a very long time. And Le Rêve means the dream. I always think of it as the dream come true wine. One thing we haven't chatted about is sometimes people will say to me, when I open a bottle of sparkling wine, I have to drink it right away. And I'm afraid that, you know, you don't have to drink it right away. Now,
we would encourage you to, though.
Yes, we'd encourage you.
Take 2 or 3 bottles.
And sometimes when you open a bottle, it just kind of slides down. I don't know what it is, but it just slides down. But this is a little wing stopper. You can purchase them, and once you own these, you know that you can open a bottle of bubbles, take 1 glass a night for 5 or 6 nights. There's 5 or 6 glasses in that bottle. And think about that. You can come home from work and have a single glass for an entire week. It probably cost you less than your designer coffee in the morning. And just think about it. You can anticipate coming home to that glass.
Exactly. So, and this is absolutely beautiful on the nose. So let's talk a little bit about what we smell and what we taste here.
Well, this to me is more brioche. It's got a more honeyed character. Honeysuckle has pears in it.
I can get the honeysuckle and the pear immediately.
Toasted nuts. It's got a more aged character over the top of it.
Let's see what it tastes like. That's exciting on the palate. It's wonderfully complex, incredibly deep and rich. It's like an old soul, if you will. It's got a lot to offer, an incredible amount to offer. So I guess my final question is, Why is Domaine Carneros so uniquely different from every other sparkling wine house in California?
One of the things is the style. We really try for an elegant style that's got great balance and great finish, and we're known for our tiny bubbles, so you get that really fine, creamy sensation and finesse. We're estate grown. We grow our own grapes, and our wines are made from our organically grown grapes for more flavor, complexity, and intensity. We're small, so the winemaking is very hands-on, very artisanal. So you get something that was specially made. And it's a flavor that I think just, if it appeals to you, that's the right one for you. In the end, someone could rate a wine, and we do very, very well in the ratings, but in the end, it has to be to your taste.
Sure.
And I just simply think that people taste this and they have this aha, like, that's it. Now I get
it
I
makes
want
sense
a fine
now,
bottle
right?
of bubbles. Yes. So thank you for your time.
Oh, it's my
wonderful
absolute
being
pleasure.
here.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Eileen.
you.
So folks, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully we'll get some positive feedback on Twitter and on Facebook. You can certainly follow Eileen out on their website, which is
DomaineCarneros.com.
excellent. And so until we meet again, please raise a glass for me, because I can certainly guarantee you I will do the same for you. So until we meet again, cheers and best regards. Cheers. Thank you.